Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to be at this Digital Innovation Tech event. My name is Francisco Velasco. I'm managing partner of OI3, Open Innovation Community. We are the centralized professional network working on innovation and design. And today I want to introduce and reflect about the term Open Innovation 3.0. Going back in history, Open innovation was first defined by Henry Chesbrough in 2004, and the best way to understand it is to imagine a funnel where the walls of the funnel represents the walls of an organization. So basically, any innovation that is taking place inside these walls will be named closed innovation, while if we use external resources, ideas, technologies to develop new products or new technologies, we will be doing open innovation. Many things have been taking place over the last 20 years, and we've seen many examples of open innovation, being the most common technology transfer. This is what we all know quite well. A technology is being licensed into a third party. You can have in-licensing or out-licensing, depending on the flow of the licensing agreement. We've also seen the rise of many prize award systems developed by companies, where a company launches a prize for the best innovation idea. They collect solutions, and that's a way to innovate openly. We've also seen the emergence of many venture capital programs that have become very sophisticated, and where a company, corporations define some specific needs and fund those startups that work to solve these needs. We've also seen a variation of these venture capital programs in the media and publishing industry, where those companies invest in startups, they acquire shares, and in return, they don't give cash, they provide advertisement through their media. We've also seen some open innovation challenges open to the general public. It was General Electric who launched something similar a few years ago. And this is sometimes used to capture best talent. Basically, you get the most brilliant minds in order to get them through your human resources channels. And we've also seen the creation of clusters, hubs, and technology campuses that in the end of the day, what they do is provoke the proximity of people in order to facilitate exchange of ideas and collaboration. Now we are about to see a huge change. With the emergence of blockchain and NFTs, non-fungible tokens, we are going to see a radical change on the concept of open innovation. But first, I'm going to quickly explain what blockchain and NFT is for those of you who are not familiar. Blockchain emerged in 2008 with the rise of Bitcoin and can be understood as a way to store information. It's like an architecture to store information that has different characteristics with the current architecture that we use. The first is that anyone that enters into the system, into the network with a storage capacity, makes a copy of the whole information and databases that is in the system. That makes any alteration very difficult. And the other big characteristic is that in blockchain, data is stored in little blocks, and each block is designed based on information from the previous block. So that means that no block can never be altered and no information can never be changed. That makes the system hugely transparent, immutable, secure, and fast. The other concept is NFT, non-fungible tokens. I know this is quite trendy, but the best way to understand it, and you will never forget, is to understand an NFT as a digital property asset. So it represents an asset in the form of a code number that is written in a digital contract, which is named smart contract. It may relate to an asset that is purely digital. For example, if we created like some picture or some artwork made digitally, or it can also refer to an asset that exists on the physical world. That's what is called a digital pair. So you may use like a reference to a real estate property or to a car and to store it into the blockchain. And obviously you change technology to manage data. So this led us to the definition of Open Innovation 3.0, which can be understood as the innovation that is taking place through a blockchain, and that is enabling the trade of intellectual property assets and other kind of know-hows. There are three big trends that are living into this definition and that are taking place. It's like three big case uses. The first one is the use of blockchain for IP registration and proof of ownership. If we have an inventor that develops some kind of technology, this is an IP asset, an intellectual property asset, which can be recorded into a block, into the blockchain. That means that because the blockchain can never be altered or modified, data can be never altered or modified, any person could have a proof of ownership on this intangible asset that has been created and that contains information on who is the owner, the date that was registered, and any other kind of specifications. The next big trade-off that we are seeing is the use of blockchain for technology transfer. And there's actually some very advanced developments going on with this regard. If we've got any kind of inventor, any kind of intellectual property owner, this person or entity may transfer this intellectual property asset to a third party. And instead of using the traditional contracts, licensing contracts developed by law firm, you may put all the specifications into a digital contract, a smart contract, where you don't need intermediaries and transactions are directly made peer-to-peer. The third big trade-off that we are seeing is blockchain for the development of a future global online open innovation marketplace. So to understand this, let's imagine we've got an intellectual property asset, like a patent that has been registered into a blockchain. We make evaluation of this patent. For example, this value has $5 million. We can divide this valuation into shares, into tokens, into NFTs. So let's imagine that we issue 5 tokens, each of them value in $1 million. If this goes into a Web 3.0 huge marketplace, we could see many things taking place that are related to the tokenization of business models. So we could see a change in the ownership concept because intellectual property tokens could be purchased, rent, or leased. They could be sold to multiple owners. So you may also issue like 5 million tokens valuing €1 and have 5 million owners of this intellectual property asset. This obviously opens a new landscape of crowdfunding possibilities for intellectual property assets. And then once you have tokens in place, it's very easy to transform this into currency because actually they work under the similar model. So you may use tokens or an own currency for the exchange of services across the whole marketplace network. Just to sum up, please be aware that blockchain and NFTs will transform entirely the business model of most industries we know. This will affect in particular the intellectual property sector, leading to the emergence of the Open Innovation 3.0 term, meaning that we may see the emergence of big open innovation marketplaces that transform how we trade, operate, or perform with intellectual property assets. Any organization willing to take a leadership role in the future should really take actions now. It's not late, but it's important to diversify risk now and to assign some small budget in order to have some team that is able to think about how business models, current business models, could evolve with the introduction of NFTs or tokens strategies. So thank you very much. I'll be happy to connect. You've got my contact details there. And thank you very much for your attention.